Welcome back, guys. Today we're just going to have a quick look at how you do not F up your first few buy-to-lets. We just want to make sure you're safe. Cool, so as we all know, we massively believe in the power of property investment, and there is nothing wrong whatsoever with good old-fashioned buy-to-let property. It should be a staple part of your portfolio going forward, but what we're going to make sure in the next 5 minutes is that you don't F the whole thing up with the first few properties. So, jumping straight in, what are the things that people get wrong early doors? Well, my first one would be, don't buy a buy-to-let property simply because it's the cheapest thing that you can possibly see on Rightmove. Properties at 30, 40 grand may sound brilliant, but they come, in all probability, riddled with problems. Not least of all, lending can be an issue when buying properties of this value. But on top of that, voids, tenant type, area, you've really got to understand what you're buying. Cheap can be good, but it's not necessarily good. Sometimes you do get what you pay for. Do your research properly. Cheap doesn't necessarily mean good, although clearly it can be. Your buy-to-let area should cash flow well. It should have a very specific tenant type, a tenant type that you're comfortable with, that you've got the right contracts in place for. It should cash flow, as we've said, but it also should benefit you long-term within capital appreciation. There is no chance whatsoever that we would invest anywhere else other than our northern powerhouse, and that's because there's an access to good value property, and the capital appreciation around these major cities is simply fantastic, and really that's the whole wealth game over time. So again, just double check. Cheap doesn't necessarily mean good. You may be riddled with problems. Think about cash flow now, but also ensure that you're benefiting from long-term capital appreciation. Okay, make sure you get your strategy right before you start. And what I mean by strategy, because we are talking about buy-to-let, is make sure you understand how you're going to find and deliver these properties. So if you're going to be the person that said, listen, I can take care of a certain degree of the refurbishment and I can save some money there, or I can, I'd enjoy doing that myself, but you're already living a very full life, working hard, enjoying your weekends, maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, maybe it's sport, could be whatever it is. If you have a very full life and you're planning a strategy around you doing a huge amount of the work, unfortunately, guys, and I don't want this for you, probably you'll fail. Probably you'll stop after one. You may not even manage to complete one property, because property is a lot of work. Investing in property and building a portfolio is quite time consuming. So if you're going to be actively involved in the building of that portfolio, please do it strategically. Understand, I think I can be really good. I would like to spend my weekends on viewings, or I want to spend every evening scrolling Rightmove. I want to do the refurbs. I'm not saying anything against it, but be strategic about it. Make sure you're planning your time out. Spend your time where it's best spent, and ensure that you're being strategic at the beginning of the journey and implementing what you want. Get just enough education to take action is always my advice. What I mean by that is you need to understand what you're doing in the property market, in the property sector, to be a property investor, an active property investor, and really taking action. You need to understand what you're doing. Absolute default. What you don't need to do is become one of the educational junkies that just goes round and round and round an educational hamster wheel that never takes action. So that's why I say get just enough education to actually take action. So if you're going to do HMOs, sit a good HMO course, see it practically, learn from somebody who's been there and done it, and then go out and deploy that into the marketplace and take action. Don't over-educate yourself. All that will happen there is overwhelm. Property, like everything else in life, can be learnt along the way, but again, make sure you understand what you're doing from the outset. Hopefully we added some value to you today. If we did, please subscribe to the channel and help us reach more people. We'd really appreciate it if you can just tap that like button. And again, if you enjoyed this, please leave something in the comments. If you want to get in touch with the team and want to progress your portfolio in a more hands-off manner, put NPP in the comments and we'll get in touch with you soon.